Hello YouTube, here with another Warp Server video, this time about expansion packs. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, some of you probably do. The crew auction just happened, the first ever crew auction on Global. And these things have shown up in the crew auction. These expansion packs. I have the English mod applied to CN, that's why I can see all this, since this only a lot of this UI unlocks at level 55, so the UI is a bit scuffed on CN. It is what it is. These things have shown up on the crew auction, right? These expansion packs, and you might be wondering what they're for and what they do. Okay, so this guide will go through all of them and tell you how to get them. This is very important stuff, okay? This is the other half of the MMO server gear progression system, okay? So, expansion packs. So you go to your gear, and after level 55, you will get this expansion pack UI stuff, okay? And then this is all the stuff, all the expansion packs that I have equipped on my gear. Okay, these are like gem slots, basically. So every piece of gear, you can attach or activate only one gem or expansion pack. And then every single one has like, there's different tiers, blue, purple, gold tier. All right, they all have their unique effects. Okay, you can have 4 sets and have them do more, give you more damage. Okay, these expansion packs, when you get them, they show up in your inventory like this. And then basically how you apply them, you can either just use and go into this UI, or you can directly click on your any piece of gear and go to enhance, and then at the bottom right, instead of enhance, there's an expansion, and then you get into this UI. Okay, so once you're in this UI, you can select the piece of gear that you want to expand. Okay, and then you would press the plus button, you select the expansion pack that you want to upload now that it's here, and then you click upload. When you do that, I'm not going to do it. When you do that, it's going to show up at the top. And then, for example, I click this top UI here, and now you can see that I have already uploaded 2 expansion packs. Okay, there's a total of 3 slots, and only one of them can be active at one time. Okay, let me go over here. Only one can be active at one time. And then, so if I want to get rid of this effect and go to here, I can choose to activate, and then the effect switches over, and then now this one's the active one, and then I get 0.2% attack, right? And then I can swap back. You're free to swap back and forth whatever you want, and there's a total of 3 slots. And then once you have maxed out all 3 slots, the next time you upload, you got to replace one. Okay, that's basically how this works. And then as you can see, my blue one is level 2 right now, right? So these ones, they can be upgraded. So at level 1, it costs another dupe to level to 2. And then it would need 2 dupes to level 3. When you level them up, all you get is just a base stat increase, right? The stat goes up when you put in dupes. So for example, this one, the All-Star expansion pack that I have, right? I have none of these. Okay. You want to prioritize unlocking all the slots first, like I did, right? I have one of each on one of each of the gear pieces, right? And then once you do that, then you start upgrading them to level 2 for the base stats. Okay. And then for those of you that haven't noticed yet, different pieces of gear can only accept a different subset of expansion packs, right? Expansion packs can only work on their specified piece of gear. So for example, this helmet, right? If I try and upload something here, you see I don't have the previous expansion packs available. All I got is a blue one I can upload here. So like you can see, this is called General Expansion Pack 2. Okay. And then these ones have, this is like General Expansion Pack 1. All right. Only pack 1 can go onto these 4 pieces. And then pack 2 can go onto these 4 pieces of gear. So it's always chest, gloves, belt, and helmet. This is one set of 4. And then bracers, leg, boots, and then the shoulders. This is another set of 4, right? So your basic pieces of gear has like 2 4 sets. And then your raid gear, right? Each individual raid gear, okay, can only have their own individual piece, right? There's no set effects for raid gear. So if I go here, this UI I think is just bugged out, right? Oh no, it's not. So the blue and the purple ones, these have set effects, right? But you don't want to put blue and purple if you have gold, obviously. And then the gold ones are unique to the specific raid gear. So for example, this is the combat engine, right? The combat engine, right? You put a gold one, the gold one gives you way more attack, 185 at level 1. Okay. And then this raid gear, right? Raid gear gives you a shit ton of attack, basically. So this is your other half of your progression. You do want at the end game to slot at least 1 gold expansion pack per piece of gear to get the base attack stats. Okay. And then the stats are different between what you get. So if you want to preview all the available expansion packs, okay, when you go into this UI, right? And then there's a gallery button at the bottom right. So inside here, you can see, all right, you can select which slot of gear you're looking for, and then you get to see a preview of all the available possible expansion packs with their effects out here, okay, to see what you want. All right, the UI is a bit scuffed. Again, this is a mod. Hopefully, global doesn't look like this. This is CN. So after you slot in all of your expansion slots, okay, there is this expansion effect UI, and then you get to see, okay, which set piece you have, right? 2 set bonus, 4 set bonus. Okay, this is where you see the all the effects and all the stuff here. Okay, but yeah, this is it. You're basically going for all-star, 4-piece all-star, 4-piece charge. These are the go-to, and then the other ones just pick whatever. Does damage buff stack? I mean, of course. So let's go through all the expansion packs and which one is actually better to get, and also like basically what the CN meta tryhards are using. Okay, so helmet slot. So the helmet slot is a 4 set, right? So the helmet slot, the best gold gear that people you go for is the expansion pack. Okay, this is not as rare, right? Basically, the charge expansion and Nova burst expansion, these two are not as rare. These other ones are kind of rare to see, and they don't really exist too much. So most people go for charge expansion pack. This one lets you deal damage based off of how much charge you have, and there's a cooldown. Okay, so people run four of this. Because the Nova burst expansion, as you can see, the base stat is different. Okay, charge expansion pack is attack and HP. Nova burst is resistance and HP. So basically, you can tell which expansion pack you want based off of its base stats. When you see resistance, that means this is more for a tank. Okay, as you can see, the effect over here deals damage equal to the current charge upon casting skills with bonus 30 shatter. Okay, 30-second cooldown. So tanks should be trying to get this. Okay, and then even if you get both, you just apply both. And but first you want to prioritize getting at least like 1 on each slot, so you get all the base stats, right? But you can apply both, and you can swap freely between DPS and tank whenever you want, because you get to swap them. Okay, so for the helmet 4 sets, go for charge expansion pack. This exotic damage, normal damage boost. These ones are just, you know, for whales and meta tryhards. Try to just do just that little bit more damage, because these give you increased damage to different types of enemies, right? So these are specialized damage dealing ones, which you know, these things are quite expensive, and you don't really want to, you know, burn too much resources on getting these specialized ones. And then also there's some PvP ones, which I'm not going to go over. PvP is pretty useless in season 1. If you really want to try hard true PvP, maybe go for some of these. Not recommended. Okay, so helmet slot, Charge expansion pack. We go down to goggles, blue, purple, whatever. There's 2 of these. So first, the conflagration expansion pack. This one is the damage one. Okay. Basically, most people go for conflagration. Okay. Basically, whatever you get, just put them on. Right. Obviously, if you're min maxing, conflagration is better because this deals AoE damage with a 3-second cooldown. Okay. Malicious stack expansion pack. This one is not that good because this marks the target and they cannot be marked again within 7.5 seconds. So if your teammate has one of these, I don't think they stack. If you're really trying to optimize min max, have one person on the team with this thing and then everyone else use this. But, you know, just go with whatever you have. Moving on, gloves is the same slot as helmets. Not going to talk about gloves. Shoulders is the other 4 set. For shoulders, for this other 4 set, most people on CN use All-Star expansion pack. This deals AoE damage whenever you crit in attack resonance. And also when you're not in attack resonance, instead you end up healing when you crit. This is a very common, very generic one that everyone pretty much will get. Very easy to upgrade as well, since there's a lot of them. Okay, this one is the go-to. Even if you don't crit for most of the content, you do crit in what's important, challenge mode, final trial, which is how you end up getting this. Okay, we'll talk about final trial a little bit later when we talk about where to get these. So All-Star expansion pack is your go-to. Sentinel expansion pack is resistant, so this is for tanks. And then these stable damage, bonus damage, and reprisal, these are rare. You barely see these. But these are also decent. Especially for general content, stable damage is technically better than All-Star. If you can get multiple of these, this drops your crit to 0, so you will never crit. But then it increases your damage by a lot, up to like 8%, I think, once you get 4 of these. Since most of the content you don't end up critting, this is good. So this is good for early game, and then this is good for late game. Once we have like end game gear and we can actually crit, maybe this might be useful. But for now, stable damage is slightly better. And then bonus damage is this is also good enough, right? This deals damage based off your crit damage amount. This requires you to build crit damage on your gear though. Not as versatile as just this. And then reprisal, pretty much the same thing, right? Deals bonus crit damage equal to this much next time when the attack doesn't crit. These are okay. Like basically anything. Just make sure you don't trigger the resistance one if you're not the tank. And then something about this one, this All-Star expansion pack, for those of you tryharding biochemical collapse, just remember when you're not in attack resonance, for example, when you're playing like Liu Hua tank and trying to clear a floor with Liu Hua tank, this thing will end up griefing you and give you healing, and then it will grief that one requirement of no healing. So if that does happen, you want to swap to an expansion pack that does while you're doing it, or just take off your gear. And then moving on, we don't talk about gear. There's 3 more raid gear here. Combat engine. The combat engine is the unique one. Okay. The combat engine expansion pack gives you an active effect. Okay. All of these ones that you can slot in, they give you an active effect. So for example, let's get out of here real quick. You see this button over here? I have the shield one on. So this is when you press X, you do the active effect of the combat engine expansion. Okay. So let's go back. So Nexus expansion pack, you get an active skill, deal fixed AoE damage equal to some amount of attack centered on the caster. So this one gives you like an AoE ring of damage around you. This is the go-to for DPS since it's additional damage. And basically you just cast this and then you do passive damage just around you for free while you can keep comboing. Okay, this is great for DPS. Endurance expansion pack. This one is single target. So this one's AoE centered around the caster. This one is single target. So you inflict a damage over time on the locked on target, dealing damage equal to 29% of attack per second for 10 seconds. So this ends up doing 290% attack to a single target. This is 207 attack AoE. So this does more damage, but only to one target. So this is good for bosses, right? Single target bosses and stuff like that. And this is good this is better for mobs. But you know, basically pick and choose which one depending on the situation. And then these other two are for tanks and for healers. This one is for tanks. This one gives you and your whole team a shield, and then removes your own debuffs as well. Okay, this shield is really cope though. It's like 58% of your attack for 8 seconds with a 30-second cooldown. This thing is pretty much non-existent. It doesn't really do anything, but you know, might as well have it. And then the healer one is increases caster HP, max HP by 1.3%, grants hyper body. This may sound useless. Nano Forge expansion pack, but a lot of people buy this for very high on CN because this is the hyper body one. This effect 1.3 HP does nothing. Whatever, forget about it. Grants hyper body for 8 seconds. 8 seconds of hyper body on a 30-second cooldown every rotation is fucking insane. Okay, this expansion pack basically solves all of the melee DPS characters' problems. You cast this, you get 8 seconds of hyper body, and then you don't get interrupted for 8 seconds. This combined with Mag Pulse, which is also 30-second cooldown, and then you put in some drone stuff and then other hyper body shit, right? You actually end up doing damage now as a melee DPS. So if you are playing non-meta weapons like the melee DPS characters, all right, you should try and get one of these for that 8 seconds of hyper body. Is huge. One is PvP. I'm not going to talk about this one. Moving on, we have Exoskeleton. Exoskeleton is the funny one. Okay. Rapid Step. This one increases speed by 3% on dodge for 6 seconds. This one's really nice to use. It doesn't give you extra damage. Healers would probably use Vital Surge. Has 60% chance to increase healing efficiency by 5% for 10 seconds. All right. Decent for healers. And then it's these two. These two are the funny ones. Okay. Hoppa loves Gamba, so they put Gamba on your expansion packs as well. Okay. Random targeting. This one is the one that rolls the dice every 10 seconds. 1/3 chance. So 1/3 of the chance you do 3% more damage. You take 3% more damage. 1/3 of the time you reduce damage taken by 3. And then another 1/3 you reduce damage taken by 6 for 10 seconds. So every 10 seconds, you will take 3% more damage, or you reduce damage. You take reduced damage. And overall, it's a gain, since 2/3 of the time you're rolling the reduced damage, okay? But this one is the random damage reduction one, which is not as good as the random damage expansion. This is reduction. This is just damage. So this is basically the same as the previous one, but this one, it is on the amount of damage you do yourself. So 3% reduced damage, 3% increased damage, or 6% increased damage. Okay. Most people will try for the random damage expansion pack. This is good. Try to get this. It's an overall increase in damage, even if sometimes you do less. Okay. It's the Gamba damage expansion pack. This is the best one to go for. Otherwise, just get the move speed. Finally, we got the Reactor. Reactor is a little bit cope. Reactor is all just healing stuff. You don't actually end up doing damage. So healing orb or blood surge don't really matter too much. Just put whatever you have on. All right, this one drops a healing orb. You can pick it up to heal yourself. This one, you basically heal yourself based off the damage you do with the 6-second cooldown. Just put whatever. This one doesn't really matter. So these are all the expansion packs available for season 1. So a little bit more about how the season works for expansion packs, I guess. If you do read over here, wait, no, it's nowhere here. Where do they say the resetting thing on expansion packs? There we go. Line 4 over here. So this is for the seasonal reset. So every half a year, when we go from season 1 to season 2 to season 3, okay, the expansion packs will rotate. Okay, there will be new expansion packs every season, and then the effects from the expansion packs will be disabled. So they force you to move on to the next new season expansion packs. But apparently the base stats are still going to stay. So like you're still going to end up with your stats, but then the effect will be disabled. And then you do want to upload new expansion packs, replace your old ones. And then, so basically this is part of seasonal gameplay. So for those of you considering maybe buying expansion packs, just know they're like all that money you invest is going away after you replace them anyways the next season. So think twice before you try and go whale on the crew auction, right? Buying these expansion packs because they are quite expensive. 22,050 base price. Okay. Right. I think that's it for expansion packs on how they work. Moving on, all the acquisition sources of expansion packs, okay? So for those of you that already paid attention to the crew auction, you could have already started buying expansion packs from the crew auction, okay? So this is the main source of pay-to-win expansion packs. If you want to get ahead, you buy from the crew auction, preferably during the crew auction at 8 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. So your crew gets a split of your funds. Otherwise, the ones that aren't bought will go to world auction, and then when you buy this, nobody gets a split. Okay, so try to buy it from your own crew, and when you do buy from your own crew, you can also end up selling these on the trade station. So if you go over here, equipment expansion pack, the blues and the purple ones, they don't sell. I don't know why these are even here. If you go here, the rare supply, you see people selling these. People selling these. People selling all of these. There are some really rare ones too, right? Some of them that just don't even exist. So these are the places where you buy them, okay? So at level 55, final trial will unlock. This is your main source of free-to-play expansion packs, okay? You gotta do final trial. Final trial, when you clear normal, you're guaranteed 400 critical points. And then you get some blue and purple ones, expansion packs, to slot in your gear as you, slowly grind out critical points. So you can buy them from the shop, okay? So the shop is over here, the redemption store. For 1,000 critical points, you get to buy a random precision expansion pack. This is RNG, and you will be given a chance at getting literally anything. So all of them will be available, but just not the PvP ones. Okay, all of them can drop, and then basically every 2.5 weeks, you will be able to buy one expansion pack from this shop through your final trial currency, right? Since you get 400 per week. So how do you get more? Final trial challenge mode. Okay, if you go to final trial and you go to challenge mode, there is a leaderboard here. Okay, with all the whales and the tryhards doing just damage leaderboard, and then this is how it works. All right, rank 1 overall gets additional 800 points. Rank 2 gets 700. Rank 3 gets 600. All the way to 200 extra bonus for rank 50. Getting to rank 50 and above is actually quite simple, right? Everyone should try to get that extra 200 points per week. Then you will be able to get one expansion pack every 2 weeks instead of 3 weeks. Okay. So how the leaderboard works for final trial, since it's you run with a team of 8 people, right? You see how all 8 people have the same exact score. So this means all 8 over here, they are rank 1. Okay, all 8 people here get the rank 1 rewards, and then you go to the next damage number, Okay. Everybody that did 22.45, all of these people are now rank 2. And then all of these are rank 3. So getting to rank 50 is very easy. You basically come in here, you count the different number of unique numbers in the leaderboard, right? This will be rank 3. You go down. This is rank 4, right? This is rank 5. This is rank 6, right? You go down the list, and then you can see once you count to 50, if there is even 50, you'll end up seeing how much damage you need to do. All right. So results settle every weekend on Sunday or after Sunday reset, I guess. Okay. So you do want to try hard this so you get extra expansion packs. Outside of Final Trial, there is still a few other sources of expansion packs. For those of you try harding the crew event, Legion Assault. Once your crew gets enough points, once they clear enough bosses, all right, there's expansion packs. So every crew event season, there is at most 3 expansion packs that you can get from the crew event. And then also, the third source would be social networking and the mentorship system. Okay. When you have mentors and you do stuff with your students, your mentees, you can go to the mentorship store, and then every month you can buy another additional expansion pack for 2,000 points. Okay, let me buy one and then see what I get. Sentinel expansion pack. And then once you buy them, they show up in your inventory. Okay, and then you can choose to use them or not. Sentinel is kind of bad. It's for tanks. And then for those of you that don't have access to the mentorship store, the mentorship system unlocks at level 60 cap, if I remember correctly. And then this is the guy that you want to talk to, mentorship researcher Diggory. And this is how you unlock the mentor system. And then make sure you do find some students and do some shit with them to get that extra expansion pack. And I think that's it.
The seat of dread.